in the past classes we have learned about the basic fundamentals of Python, like what is a variable, what is a string, what is integer value, right? How to take inputs from the users, how to take values from the admin. So we have used input function as well. Today we're going to create our script to push to the network devices. So first of all, let's access the event 192.168.236.129, the password admin eve, and we have this router here, CSR router. I've also shared the image with you guys as well. So first we'll say start all nodes, and now this is connected with a cloud. So let me do one thing. uh,
Zach, sorry to interrupt. So last week I used Mac OS. So last week I was unable to install AVNG software. I mean, I was able to install, but we couldn't uh, integrate it to the VM.
so it's your VMware workstation working?
No, 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 not at all. So we tried to install, but ARM is not supported in Mac OS. So
Okay,
you
so I
said
thought you
you
have
will.
tried in the weekdays, right?
Sorry.
Have you tried to do it in the weekdays?
Yeah, I tried before the class, but we the same issue I got when we tried during the class.
Okay, then we can
So,
connect later, okay, and then
yeah,
we can try to fix it.
yeah, sure, sure, yeah.
Okay. So now, guys, let's do one thing. First of all, go to this stop all nodes. Who are new to the class, I just want to repeat this. First, you need to add a router here. But now, what I want to push a Python script to this router from my laptop, right? So as we have discussed that this evng is inside my laptop, but it's a virtual machine, and in our laptop we have the adapters, the virtual adapters, like this VMnet one status details. So you can notice 192.168.236.1, and my event is also getting IP address from this subnet only. How is it even possible? Because we have given an adapter to this event. If we go to the settings, I've assigned an adapter VMnet1. So now using this VMnet, this evng is getting an IP address from my laptop through a virtual interface. Now I want to push the scripts. So I want this router to be reachable from my laptop. So that's why what do, you right click on this screen, you click on node, sorry, sorry, you click on network, you choose it from type, and you have to choose the first cloud 0, the management, because right now to evng we have just given one interface, save, and then I'll connect it to my CSR router. So on this CSR router, we have four interfaces. So it will choose it from sequential order, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have selected the first interface and save. More actions, and then we'll say start all nodes. So first of all, I want this CSR router to get an IP address first. You have two ways. First, you can configure an IP address manually on this interface, or you can request an IP address using DHCP. So let's open the CLI, and you see that the CSR router is going to boot. Till the time the router will start, we'll discuss about here two protocols. Like I'm not going into the details, okay, but you are well aware of these two protocols, Telnet and SSH. Because whenever we make configuration on CSR router or any network device, the first mode of configuration is always through a console port. But when you make the configuration through a console port, you need a console cable, and you must be present nearby the router so that you can access it, because the length of the console cable is 2 to 3 meters only, right? But what if I want to access this router from a remote location? So if I want to access this router from a remote location over an IP network without even using a console cable, so we have two protocols, Telnet and SSH. Telnet is based on TCP, right? Port number is 23. SSH is also based on TCP, and port number is 22. So both of these protocols are application layer protocols, and they are reliable because both of them are based on TCP. These are their respective port numbers, 23, 22. Then the whole conversation in case of Telnet is plain text. The whole configuration in SSH is encrypted. First, we are starting with this Telnet library, but then we'll go to NetMiko. At the NetMiko time, we'll be using SSH, secure cell. We're going to use secure cell. So if even if you want to put a script on the router, first either you have to enable Telnet or SSH. It depends from which method you want to push the scripts. So right now we are working on Telnet library. So now if we talk about libraries in Python, any guesses guys, what is Python libraries?
It's like this.
Is someone joining the meeting? Just no. Okay. Yeah. So Python library, see, you have to write a code, right? For Telnet, we need a lot of things internally. But if I don't want to run everything from scratch, so in Python libraries are what? They are pre-written codes. Pre-written code like functions, classes, modules. So we can reuse them again and again inside our programs. And instead of writing everything from scratch, you can directly import a library in Python and you can use it. So we will be using a lot of libraries, Python libraries, pre-written libraries, because we are not the actual developers of Python. We are not going to create everything from scratch. I'm not going to write every code from scratch. So that's why we will be using these libraries here. So in Python, we have a lot of inbuilt libraries, and some of them needed to be imported externally. First, we have to import them from internet, then we have to put it in Python, then we can use them, and few libraries are inbuilt. So now, when we were talking about Telnet library, you know that the first for the first time I've started learning about this automation for networks in back in 2020. That time we have started working with Telnet library, and at that time the Python version was this 3.10 or 3.11. So at that time the Telnet library was inbuilt in our Python. The Talent library was inbuilt in Python. But now they have removed it, and they have completely removed the Talent library from the latest Python version. And we have NetMiko here. So we'll talk about NetMiko in the upcoming classes. But right now our focus is on Talent library. So in Talent library, we need a lot of functions in the background to connect with the networking device. And these pre-written codes are available for us. So in Python, we have a lot of libraries and we'll be using them in our upcoming classes as well. So here we're going to work on Telnet library. But before that, first of all, we will be configuring Python on our Cisco router. So we got the CLI access, and I think my router is ready now. Yeah, it's ready. So router is up and running. I hope the CLI is okay, right? It's visible. The font size is okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now this is CSR, right? So the first thing, I've configured a host name already. Okay, CSR1, let's say. Then the interface gigabit Ethernet 1. You will say IP address DHCP, and we'll say no shutdown. So my interface will get an IP address from my desktop, like the EVNG itself, right? So you see, IP address is 192.168.236.128. And if I say show IP interface brief, I can verify it from here. 192.168.236.128. First thing, the router must get an IP address. Once the device receives an IP address, then you will enable Telnet protocol here. But to access this router and to log in, we must configure authentication as well. We must configure authentication as well. So I'll create a username here. Username, let's say admin. Privilege 15 means full privilege of making configuration. Password also admin. So right now we have configured a very simple password, but in real-time networks, we will be configuring a bit complex, okay? Not simple like this. Username admin, privilege 15, password is also admin. Privilege 15 means that,
That question, I have a question.
yeah, please.
So you configured DHCP, right? But you didn't specify the specific IP range. So how does it pick the 192 range?
See, in this case, when I say IP address DHCP,
Mm-hmm.
this router is going to request for an IP address from my router. Okay, so do
Okay.
show IP interface brief. That's why what we did, we have connected it to the cloud, and this cloud is pointing towards the VMnet, the virtual network interface, which we have on this desktop. So if you click on the status and you check, we are using which subnet, 192.168.236.1,
Yeah.
and this is the subnet mask, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this same interface is assigned to EVNG. If we go here and we say settings, so you notice that the same adapter is given to VMnet 1. So the host, the router which is connected inside the EVNG is connected to this, and from this pool we are getting an IP address, right? You can
Okay.
also check this configuration from the VMware workstation also. If you click on edit and you click on virtual network editor, so in the virtual network editor, you can see that you have two VMnet interfaces, VMnet 1, VMnet 8. So if I click on VMnet 1 and I click on DHCP settings, so you notice that we have defined this pool here, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you want to add it, so you can click on change settings. And from the change settings for VMnet 1, let's say, so this is predefined pool, but if you wanted something else, you can change it from here. Okay, you have
Okay.
that privilege to change it. But right now it's already configured 192.168.236.0. So from this pool, we are getting an IP address to this
Okay.
machine from
Okay.
this virtual network editor. All
Okay.
right,
Yeah. Got it. Thanks.
you're welcome. So who is joining now? We have, okay, yes, one. So my router got an IP address now. The IP address is 192.168.236.128. So I can try to ping it from my laptop. Exit. Ping 192.168.236.128. So the router is reachable. The router is reachable. Okay. Initially, guys, the talent library was here. Talent library Python. And now you can also notice here this module is no longer part of the Python standard library. It was removed in Python 3.3 after being deprecated in Python 3.11. The removal was decided in this. Possible replacements are third-party libraries from PyPI, Talent Library 3, or X scripts. These are not supported or maintained by the Python core team. That's why we have skipped these and we have started using NetMiko. We have started using NetMiko. The last version of Python that provided the Talent Library module was 3.12. But still, we're working on this Talent Library with the help of the previous version, right? Now, the previous version will be here, which we're going to use. So, if we get, I just want to show you how it is used to look like this. This is a very, simple illustration of this, the talent library, but we will be, using our own. We will be writing our own code here, but that's how it used to look like. Let's say when you log into the router, first of all, you need to tell the IP address of the router. So host, localhost, user. You can ask from the user, input, enter your remote account, means enter your user IP. Then you do all these things. But first of all, you see that you are doing what? Import talent library. The talent library is in Python, but I want to use it in my script. So I have to say that I want to import talent library. Once you import this talent library, you will be able to use the talent library functions here, right? And we are using variables, like host is a variable, user is a variable, password is a variable, this tn is a variable. So we are using all these functions of the Talnet library. Now this is my router and this is my desktop. So you know that when we'll create a Python script on this router, on this host, sorry, from this host to this router, it means that I want to push some commands. So that's why in Talnet library, we have a function which is known as write. So if you want to write something, it means that you will give instruction to this router that I want to execute this command. So if you want to execute a command using the Talnet library, you will be using the write function. You will be using the write function. Then we also have teen.read until function here, read until that line, and all these things. We'll discuss about them and we'll be creating policies. Then we have read all in Talnet library. So we'll discuss about them. But this is the simplification of the Talnet library, the simplest form. Okay. So what we did, first of all, we make sure that our router is having an IP address. Once that router got an IP address, what we'll do, we'll enable Telnet. So we were configuring Telnet on this router, and then we have started discuss about how the router got an IP address. But now let's come back here. So we have already created a username with privilege 15. So guys, each username has a privilege in Python, okay? And privilege 15 means that you have full access of this router. You can configure whatever you want to configure. Nobody can stop you if you have privilege number 15. Privilege 15. After that, I'll go to line VTY 0 to 4, transport input. We have protocol, so I said transport input all means telnet SSH is allowed, and login log. It means that if someone try to access it through Telnet, you will authenticate it and using the local database. So it will ask for username and password. So now what I can do here, first of all, I can verify it from the putty in my laptop. I have putty software, and I'm sure that you guys are also having this software. Very useful. So through putty, first of all, I'll make sure that my router is configured for Telnet 192.168 236.128, and I'll say open. Once I'll say open, what is the first thing it is asking, guys? You notice that for the first thing it is asking is username. So I'll say username is admin. Once I'll enter, it's asking for password. But have you noticed one thing? Password is asked in the same line or is it in the next line? Tell me. Once you enter the username, it's asking for a password, but password is in the same line or in the next line?
Next line.
Next line. So when we will be writing our script, we have to make sure that the Python is entered in the next line. So first we will write down the script username and then we will enter the password. Right now you see I'm doing it by myself, but later my script will be doing it. So I have to give both the values to my script because I will not be interrupting then. I will not be interrupting. Then it will be entered by my script itself. So that's why we know that it's going to the next line. It's going to the next line. So now let's start creating a script here that are okay. Talnet is working. That's good. So let's open the VS Code. And now guys, please pay attention here. I need your full attention. Okay. Telnet library. So this is our file First, I'll save it. I'll save a file. I'll give it a name. Let's say talnet3.py. Guys, you will not believe me. When I was struggling with this Python back in 2020, I've created a Python script. But the mistake I made was a very silly mistake, but it took a very long time to fix it. When I was creating this Python file, you know what name I've saved? I saved the name talnetlibrary.py. So this file which I'm creating for Talnet script, I have saved it with talnetlib.py name. That was the mistake, because make sure that the Python name, the file of the name which you're saving in your laptop, should not be the name of the script itself or name of the Python library itself. So please give it something else. Like it can be talnet123, but make sure that you're not giving it a name like talnetlib.py, because then it will interfere with the actual library of the Python. So you can save it with any name, but just make sure that it's not saved as talnetlib.py. Okay. So now we'll start from here. And what will we will do for the first time? First, we will be starting with importing the Talnet library. We will start with importing the Talnet library here. So we already have the Talnet library from Talnet lib. I want to import a function Talnet. This is the first thing you have to say. In the Talnet library, we have a function Talnet, and this function allows us to connect to the device from a remote location, as well as it gives us privilege to make configurations. Now, once you do this, then you have to define few values related to the router. Let's say my router. Okay, so we have a router and router IP address. So I can say router underscore IP is equal to. Right now, I'm not gonna take input from the user. We just want to create a very simple script. Later on, we will be using for loop in the Python library, this Talnet library. We will be using user inputs. So we're gonna make some changes. We're gonna enhance it. But for the first time, I just want to have very simple Python script. And right now we have just one router. Let's say in future we have 5 routers. Then I cannot define it statically. I will be taking inputs from the admin that, okay, please enter the IP address of the router first. Please enter IP address of router 2, router 3, router 4. But right now we have just one router. So I'll say router IP is, what is the IP address of the router? This is the IP address of the router, 192.168.236.128. So I'll do copy and paste. I means that I want to connect to this router using Telnet. Then once you do this, the device will ask for the username, because as we have seen it through putty, whenever you log into the router through Telnet, it's gonna ask you for the username. So I have created a variable for username also. I said username is admin. Password is also admin. Username is admin, password is admin. Later on, again we'll be taking input from the user. Okay. Then we need to create a Telnet variable. Let's say we are using here tn. So tn is equal to, this is a variable because now then we'll be using it, that you have to write commands here. Tn is equal to Telnet library dot Telnet. Means now I'll define that using this Telnet library to whom I want to connect. So I can say Telnet lib dot Telnet, or you can just say Telnet. Okay, don't need to say Telnet lib. You can say Telnet to whom? To router IP. I have already given a IP address. So I said that I've created a variable tn, and what you have to do in this variable, you have to Telnet to whom? Router IP. What is the IP address of the router? 192.168.236.128. Okay, all right. Once you log into that, what you're supposed to do after this? Right now, if I go to putty again, you know that what I'm doing here. Once I put the IP address 192.168.236.128. So you notice that once I say open, you know what putty is gonna do? Putty is gonna send the request to the router. Once it will send the request, what this router is asking for, the first thing, the router is asking for a username. The router is asking for a user name. So likewise, once you'll do this, once this Python script will run this function, the router will ask for the username. Router will ask for the username. So for that, you have to say tn dot write. That's why I've created this variable tn. So it means that once you do this, you have to write what you're supposed to write. You are supposed to write the username. Backslash n. Why? Because you know that once you enter the username, you will go to the next line and then you will write the password. And I've already given these two values. Password backslash. It means that once you will log in, you will write what you will write. You will write username. What is the username? Admin. Okay. It will enter the value admin. Then you know it goes to the next line. The router will ask for the password, and I said that you are supposed to write the password. If everything is correct, then you can say print telnet connection established successfully. If everything is right, your IP address is okay, then you will notice that the telnet connection has been established. If I just run this script only, if I just run this script, then it will work out. But we want to see some changes that the script is working or not. Because if you notice, in whole this configuration, I haven't asked for any input. I haven't made any configuration. Let's say on this router, right now, if you notice, the router just has one interface. IP, show IP interface brief. There's an IP address on 192.168.236.128. Let's say I want to configure IP address on gigabit Ethernet 2, or I want to configure an IP address on gigabit 3, or I want to configure an IP address on gigabit 3 4, or I can create a loopback interface also. I can change the host name as well. So now we will write a script in which I'll write some code so that we can make the basic configuration. Let's create a loopback on this router. Now once it will log in, this is for the login only, that username, password. After that, I want to run some commands. So now you know that you have the option of commands. I've created a variable with name command. Then I can use a list, guys. In the list, I can say like configure terminal, right? Then I can say interface loopback one by one. Or I can do what? I can use 3 this colon, right? Configure terminal. Because once you log into the CLI, that's why I'm showing you through putty also. Right now, if you notice, 192.168.236.128. That's why you will always hear this. The fundamental knowledge or the basic knowledge is required. If you want to be an automation engineer, so you must know about the basic functionality of this router. That it will go to the privilege mode. After this privilege mode, you will type configure terminal first. Then you go to the configuration mode. In the configuration mode, you want to run a command interface loopback 0, right? So that's why I said the first command you will execute is configure terminal. Then you will say interface loopback 0. You can say 1 0, whatever your loopback number you want. Then you can say IP address 192.168.10.1.255.255.0, whatever the subnet mask you want to give. Then you can say end and exit, because I want to close the session also. I want to close the talent session. So that's why I said end and exit. You'll say, okay, what about no shutdown? You don't need to say no shutdown on a loopback interface, because loopback is a virtual interface. So it's automatically up. It is automatically up. Now I said, okay, command is there. But you have to tell this script that you have to write these commands to whom? tn.write commands. Because in the tn, this is a variable, and inside this variable we have configured that you are supposed to telnet the IP address of the router, which is 192.168.236.128. 236.128. tn write and commands. This is how we can create a basic script. This is the basic script we have configured right now, but it will not work out, because there are some changes, guys. That's why I want you to do what I want you just try, because sometimes your Python script will not work for the first time. And I also want this. I like it when you write a Python script and it won't work for the first time. So then you see, okay, there are some problems. Then you be paying attention to the details. Okay, what kind of error is this? Why I'm getting this error? So if I'll run this script, let's say if I just run this script, everything is correct, but it is giving me a message here. Type error in string requires string as left operand, not bytes. Now what is this? What is this funda here? If you notice, I've typed something in double quotes or single quotes. What we call it, guys? What kind of data format is this? Whenever you write something in single quote or double quote, what we call it?
Integer.
No, string. What we call it? We call it string. We call it string. But you know that router, switches, all these are electronic devices, and they works in binary format, or they works in bytes. So what we have to do when we are giving values in the Python script, these Python script values are in string, but we have to encode it as per the rule of the Python, or as per the device understanding. That's why we have configured it properly. There's no problem in a script, but we have to encode this data in the format of the router. So I can say here, we'll be using encode function of Python. Okay, you can encode it to ASCII, or there's a one more format which is known as UTF-8. So either you can encode it in ASCII format, means which is converting from human readable format to machine readable format, or vice versa is also true. So you have to say that you have to encode it as per the router understanding, as per the network device understanding. So we have formats here. Either you can convert it to ASCII, or you can use UTF-8. You can use it UTF-8. Let me show you here as well. It will make more sense. If I put it here, you will notice so in Python 3, string and bytes are distinct types. String represent Unicode text, while bytes represent sequence of row bytes. The in operator, when used with a string as the right operator, operand, expect the left. Okay, don't go into this, but you notice here they're using a keyword b. I'll tell you when you'll use this b keyword, or when you will be using this encode function, and when you will be using this encode function. Okay, it's a mess here. You can just go to these internet also if you want to explore it. But this is what you have to do here, guys. Either you have to convert it to ASCII or UTF-8, because now we want it to send in row bytes, 0110, like in a row data, not in this structured way. Likewise, the command should also be encoded here. The command should also be encoded. Commands dot encode ASCII. This time you will notice everything will work fine. No problem will be there. Encode ASCII. If I'll run this script again, what message I'm getting, guys? Telnet connection established successfully. Am I getting any error message here? Tell me. Am I getting any error message?
No.
No, right? It's working. Can we see this loop back on the router? If we go to my router here and I say show IP interface brief. Okay, sorry. I don't see a
Loop back.
loop back.
I think it's going to establish SSH from base code to router.
Telnet, okay. Show users. Do we had a successful connection? Yes. Someone mic is on, so I think please turn it off. Hello. Thank you. Okay, our router got stuck. Configured from console. That's the problem now. Okay, because our connection is not closed successfully, and that's why the command is also not executed on this, and we are not able to enter here. More actions. Stop all nodes. In this Python, if you notice, if you go back to the script, you see a function here. We already did the exit, right, and exit, but tn dot read all dot decode. That in the end, we want to decode everything and we want to read the commands one by one so that the commands will be executed and session will be closed permanently. Right now, we are just getting a message in the VS code here, which is telnet connection established successfully. After that, it is not showing us that these commands are executed or not. These commands are executed or not, but we can see it. We can see it using the read all function of this Python library. Using the read all function of this telnet library in Python, that's why we have this read all functions. So if we type that read all functions, we would be able to see that our commands are executed or not properly. Commands are executed properly or not. So we will do what? Now our router is restarted. Let's log into this router. Okay. It happens in this wipe. Now start it. Okay. You're gonna also face these kind of challenges, guys. Okay, and please don't get demotivated when you have these problems in this ENG and all. Okay, right now again it's getting stuck. So what we can do, we can stop it. We can entirely remove this router because you don't need to do anything with the Python script that is saved in the VS code. No worries. Okay, and then just remove it. Go to the ENG, shut down guest, let's say. Power on this virtual machine again. One 192 168 Let's refresh this page. Yeah, everything is working fine. Then we'll select the router, Cisco IOL or CSR. So let's select a CSR router, VNG. Already given 4 GB RAM. So then you can just boot. We have the CSR router, network, bridge, the management cloud, save it, and then you can connect it to the router. But please connect the router first with this cloud and then turn it on, because EVNG does not allow us to connect the devices if it is powered on. Once we'll connect the device and then we'll start it. Now there's a problem, guys. It's getting stuck again and again. Okay. uh, it is not behaving like this earlier, but now we have to find out the workarounds. Sign in. Let's try to open a web page. Still not working. So what is the last option we have here? Stop it. Delete. I have other router images also, like Cisco IOL we can connect. Okay, I'll connect a router here, a normal router, not the CSR. Ethernet 0/0. Will power it on, more actions, start all nodes. Earlier it was working. That's why I've checked it before class as well, right? So we don't have to do all these things in the class time. It was working perfectly. But now somehow it has decided just to waste our time. But yeah, we have these kind of problems. Okay, it's up. Let's push the policies on this baby router. Okay, enable configuration mode. We are not going to make a lot of configuration on this router. We'll just make sure that this router is having an IP address. So I'll say no shutdown, and then I'll say IP address DHCP, so that my router can get an IP address from the desktop. Exit. Let's wait for an IP address to show IP interface brief. 192.168.236.130. Then username admin, privilege 15, password admin, line VTY 024, transport input telnet, login local. Please authenticate using username and password. So guys, if you have any challenge in this configuration, like the telnet configuration, let me know. But you know what we did here, text first, we go to the configuration mode, configure terminal, interface Ethernet 0/0 this time. IP address is 192.168, sorry, IP address DHCP, no shutdown, exit, username admin, privilege 15, and what was the password we configured? Admin, right? Password admin. Then I said line VTY 024, transport input telnet, login local, and exit. Configure terminal, IP address, username, password. This is what we have configured on this router. Now let's go back to the Python script, but this time the IP address is 192.168.236.130. Okay, and in the last, guys, I want this router to run the script, and I want it to print tn dot read all dot encode ASCII. I want it to read everything, the commands it has been executed on this. Please read all these commands for me. Okay, let's try to run this script now. Username admin, password admin, router IP. Okay, let's run this. Sorry. In the last, we have to decode it because we want it in human readable format. Bytes object has no attribute encode. Did you mean decode? Because then I want it to read all this data in human readable format. So right now we are encoding the values as per the router rules, and then we have to decode it because we want to read the commands which has been executed on the router. Configure
So,
terminal.
so it is encoding in ASCII and then it is decoding to the readable format.
Yeah,
Okay.
encoding for the router and decoding for
Yes.
us. Now you see that what router did. So first it has tried the telnet connection was established successfully. Then router asked for username, so it put username admin. Router asked for password, it put the password. Then we are in the privilege mode. So then configure terminal, interface loopback 0, IP address 192.168.10.1, 255.255.255.0, and exit, because once you say exit, the telnet connection is closed. Now if I go to my router and I check it here, show IP interface brief. Do we have a loopback interface on the router, guys?
Yes, we have
Did we have configured it through the CLI or through a script?
script only, right?
Script only, right? And what was the script? This is our easy script here. So let me do one thing. Let me put it in a notepad here and then just show you again. Just go through it. So first of all, what I will do here, I will import a function from the library. This is a pre-written code in Python. So I've imported the telnet function from this library. After this, I said that we have few variables, router IP, 192.168.236.130. Because if you want to telnet, you have to provide few values. Then you said username, value is admin, password is admin. Then we have created a variable with tn name. Otherwise, you have to write it every time, telnet.write, telnet.this, telnet.this. But I have created a variable already that tn is equal to telnet router IP. It means that you have to log in or you have to do telnet to which IP? 192.168.236.130. I can write down this IP address directly also, but it's always a better idea to create a variable. Then I said, okay, once you log in, once you have created this function, and then I'll say tn.write, because you will log into this router and it will ask the username like it did here. That's why it is showing us step by step. Oh, I've cleared that. Username, right? But after username, it will go to the next line. So I said that next line, you will enter the password. So username is here, password is here. But this is the simple script. I haven't asked anything from the user. We can take input. I'll show you. We can take inputs as well. But right now we have entered everything manually. The username and password in a variable. Then print tn telnet connection established successfully. After that, I want you to execute few commands. What are those commands? So I have saved them in a string, and you know that if I want multi-line string, then we can use this triple double quotes, right? 1, 2, 3. Configure terminal, interface loopback 0, IP address 192.168.10.1, 255.255.255.0. Guys, if I'll do this only, then the problem is the connection will not be closed. So I want the session to be closed. That's why I said after this you will say end. Once you'll say end, you will come to the privilege mode. And after that privilege mode, you said exit. If I show you here in putty that why it is important, 192.168.236.130. If I log into my router, admin, let's say if I create one more loopback here through my CLI, configure terminal. I say interface loopback 1, IP address 1.1.1, 255.255.0. If I just do this, I will be in this mode only. But what I want my script to do, I want my script to create a loopback and then close the connection. That's why I said after this you can type end. Once you type end, you will be in the privilege mode only. And then I said exit. So once you say exit, you noticed the putty session closed, because once you'll say exit, the telnet connection will also be closed. And we are able to push a configuration using this telnet library from the VS Code. Then I said tn dot write what, write the commands, but you have to encode them as per the router format. Then if I'll do this only, then it will not be showing me the commands in the VS Code. But you know that we have seen the step-by-step command line also. That's why we have used this tn write for read all function. That okay, once you do this, please read it for me. Read what? Read all and decode, not encode. This time, once the router will read all, it will be in bytes. But I want to see it in string, or I want it in human readable format. That's why I said read all, but decode in ASCII format. This is very simple and basic script for Talent, guys, to push the configuration. Then we can make it more simple, as well as we can more make it more dynamic. This is very static approach because everything is entered already. Everything is entered already here. Any challenge in this part? Please feel free to ask till now.
Yep, I'm good.
We are on the same page.
Yes, Amit. Hello, Amit. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So guys, now again, as per my experience with this, if you do the practice, only then it will be helping. Otherwise, after this class, you guys will forget almost everything if practice is not there. Okay.
Yes.
Sure, Amit. We'll practice.
So now everyone is having this, right? Only problem with this Suma, right? It's a
Yeah, for me also, sir. My system is getting crashed. I think it is SSD issue I found. So
okay.
I ordered
So how much
Monday.
RAM do you have, Abhishek?
Yeah, it was sufficient, sir. It is 12 GB RAM, and
Okay.
but then to SSD it was crashing again and again. So he told me it is a issue. It's issue with the SSD. It seems.
No, there's no such issue. Like, how much storage do you have? 1 TB or what?
So that day we were trying to office laptop, sir.
No, even in my laptop, I don't have SSD. Like, it's HDD, but it's 500 GB only, but it's working fine.
Okay, then okay. If you have in weekdays, sir, can you give me your half an hour?
Yeah, sure. That's why I told you that you can reach
Yes,
out to me, right? So
you told
we
me
can plan.
last week changes were there aligned, so I didn't get time to connect with you. Yeah,
Okay.
this week I will get.
All right. So we have Abhishek. It's almost installed. Then we have Stis. It's working for you, Stis?
Yeah, I'm using DNS3. Is it okay, or you want me to install EVND as well?
No, it's okay if you have installed that router. It's talking to your laptop now.
Yes. I make it as a printed mode. Yeah, it's okay. I
So
can.
we have the VS Code, right?
Yep.
And yes, what? Are you there?
It's working out. Yeah, it's working out.
It's working for you?
Yeah.
Okay. For right now, you guys can do one thing. You can just try to do this as it is. No changes, just copy and paste. Just type everything by yourself. And if it is working, then in the next class, we'll be just making it more dynamic because I don't want to rush into this stuff. This is very important for us to have this in practice also. So please try to do it as soon as possible. Okay. And then we'll see how to fix the problem with Suma. Like he's not able to install it in Mac OS. So events is not turning on, right? Barful, have you any scenario like this earlier with the MacBook? If you could help. Barful, are you there? Okay. He's not there, I think. All right, Suma, we'll try to fix your problem now, okay? So you guys can go and practice now. And that's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow and we'll explore the Talnet library in detail, okay?
Yes.
All right, guys,
Sure,
have a good
Abhijit.
day. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed the session today.
Yes, we have.
All right, okay.
Zach, can we connect now to install the EVNG in my laptop?
Yeah, we can connect after this meeting, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Baba Sankar.